Hello, everyone, and welcome to Words of the Whills from Brick City Blockade Podcast Network. I am going to be live with my good friend Tim Rosser. He's going to make his return to Words of the Whills, so just going to wait a little bit to add him in, and then we'll get this Words of the Whills started. Is
I'm
There he
here.
is. The Dark Lord has returned. So
Oh
how's it going
boy.
tonight, Tim?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Just going to be recapping the entire San Diego Comic Con that was this past weekend. It's going to be a fun night, and we're going to give some tips on first con goers and everything like that, and some other stuff within that galaxy far, far away. So before we get into San Diego Comic Con, how have you been? It's been a while since you've been on Words of the Will, so let people know how you've been.
Well, I've been pretty good. Been sick a little bit. Dealing with some health issues, but other than that, just making it day to day. Can't complain too much because if you do, nobody cares anyway.
I
You
care.
know, you just all right. Thanks. Yeah. So, what about you? How about you? You been doing all right?
Been doing all right. Was a little sad over the weekend with the passing of John Schnapp
Yeah.
and everything like that. So I did a whole tribute live stream for him the other day. So if you guys did miss that, definitely go and watch it. Caden Settler hosted it with me. So it's just an all love fest for John Schnapp and a little bit of a love fest for Kevin Smith as well. So
I've
yeah,
been kind of off social media a little bit, so I'm kind of way behind on watching other people's videos and stuff like that. So I got to play catch up big
that's
time.
all good.
All right.
Um, Now, besides John Schnapp's passing, there was also San Diego Comic Con this weekend. And we got a
Yes.
lot of stuff this weekend. Um, Now, we will save the Star Wars bit for the
Yeah.
end.
Okay.
Um, what did you like that came out of San Diego Comic Con this past weekend?
The
What
big
caught
thing,
your
of
eye?
course. Oh, I'm sorry.
What caught your eye the most out of San Diego Comic Con?
Godzilla.
Yep,
Yep. I was so excited. I was like, that is awesome.
yep. And I can't wait for Godzilla to come out. I like the 2014 one, but there was not too much Godzilla for my liking. Um,
It was
whereas,
not enough at all.
whereas with this one, it looks like they listened to the complaints of the first film, and there's going to be a lot of Godzilla, and not just Godzilla, but King Ghidorah, and Mothra, and Rodan, and
Yes. And was
and
that Gamera I saw?
it could have been,
It
but
was hard. I've only watched the trailer one time,
yeah,
and I swear that was Gamera.
it could have been.
Yeah.
Um, And this is obviously going to lead into the King Kong sequel and also the third Godzilla film because it is going to be a rematch of King Kong and Godzilla. And
Yes.
personally, I think this time Godzilla will win.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking is we're gonna get a Batman versus Superman kind of movie where
Yeah,
they fight for a little bit, but then they team up for the greater good. Because if you watch, they're trying to push these two characters to be good guys now.
yeah,
Like they are really pushing them to be good guys. And King Kong, for instance, they really pushed the humanity,
yeah, they
the
did.
human side to him. Like they really gave him personality. Like you actually felt sorry for this guy. You know,
Yeah,
you see his skeletons of his parents. They're when he looked at his hand after he got cut by the blade, you just felt sorry for him.
yeah,
And So and then, with Godzilla, the first one, even though they showed him like 15 minutes, if that, he was still, they pushed that he was, he's nature's
Savior.
force to
Yeah.
savior. So they're pushing for these guys to be good guys. And if you go back to the old ones, Mothra was always the one that tied them all together. Oh, you guys got to be good together. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how they're all going to tie in together.
Yeah.
It
Um,
looks like King Ghidorah won't be from outer space, maybe, but it's too early to.
it does, because I rewatched the Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, recently, and from what it looks like they're going that route with King Ghidorah because he came down from outer space but was crash
Okay.
landed into Earth. So it looks like they're pulling from that. And my brother shared the poster with me, and it instantly reminded me of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah from 1991. The poster and
Yes.
everything, how King Ghidorah's head is wrapped around Godzilla and everything. It reminded me straight of that.
That's will be so much better than the three creatures getting combined together like they did in the was it the what series was that? Um, the Millennium series. One of the series they just did recently, a few years back, where
Yeah,
they were the Dorets, and then
yeah,
they got merged into one. I didn't like that at all. I always liked them coming from Space Hunter Nebula X.
yeah. Um, well, if you're talking about Final Wars, that's not King Ghidorah. That is Kaiser Ghidorah. Different
Okay,
Ghidorah.
is that the one? Well, no, is that the? I'm trying. I haven't watched any of them in a while. So is that the one where they were three like little creatures and they got merged into?
That is Godzilla versus Destroyer from
Okay,
1995.
all right, 95. Okay, I got to go back. I've got them. I got to go back and start watching them again. It
Yeah, you
starts to
got
get
a marathon them
confusing.
like I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the one creature that they haven't showed that I really would like to see in the movies though, that then I would rather them not bring. Well, I guess you need those. They're all the core monsters. I'd like to see Anguirus because he was always Godzilla's
Yeah,
buddy. Like they were always together. They always teamed up. I would love to see him show up at some point.
yeah, yeah, that would be really cool. How's it going, Brian? And how's it going, Jimmy? Sorry, I wasn't trying to
Oh,
ignore you. um,
yeah, sorry.
but
I forget people are watching.
yeah, the only thing I hope with how they're making Godzilla a savior of the Earth is they don't go the route of Godzilla's Revenge. If you remember that movie.
Yeah, that's the um
It's the one with the kid that is friends with Godzilla's son, and
and
for some
follows him
reason,
around, and it was really corny.
yeah, for some reason, Godzilla's son can go down to human size and can actually speak
Yes,
to
and
humans.
talk, and then all of a sudden he's back. Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah, I am excited to see how they do Rodan. Um, it was funny in one of the Facebook groups I'm with, which is all Godzilla centric. Someone did like a quote from Lord of the Rings, and someone was like, "The beacons are lit. Godzilla calls for aid," and I commented, "And Rodan will answer." So, because and
Yeah.
like it's the person commented back, it's like that is just too good not to pass up, and it fit perfectly too.
Yeah. I I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping that they kind of do the traditional. He looks. You can see a little bit of him. He still looks pterodactyl like. I still kind
Yeah,
of like them to be like. I want them to be like still creatures. Like I want him to be a pterodactyl. I want Godzilla to
yeah,
be a mutated dinosaur. Mothra coming out the water. You know, she's got to be some type of supernatural because we know what happens if a moth actually got water on its wings. So let's hope
Yeah,
that, you know, but Mothra was always like, so like kind of like a deity kind of thing.
yeah,
Whereas Godzilla originally was just a mutated dinosaur, and Rodan was just a pterodactyl in suspended animation. And then they started getting into the whole lore of their gods and goddesses and stuff like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, Brian, it is essentially the American remake of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Although it's going to confuse people with the subtitle because there's going to be two Godzilla films with the same title.
yeah,
So whenever you're talking about King of the Monsters, they're going to be like, all right, are you talking 1956 or are you talking 2019?
yeah.
Um, that's why I wish they did a different subtitle.
I wish they did
Um,
too.
maybe they'll change it. I kind of doubt it. Um, how's it going, James? How's it going, Kenneth? No, the
So
Smog Monster is when Godzilla flew, if you remember that.
yeah, yeah. He flew, and Smog Monster was cool, Hedora, but
Yeah,
it's you know, we'll probably see those eventually, but those are all
yeah,
political at the time, so I don't know if we're going to see the Smog Monster or not. Probably not, but it would be cool to
probably
see some
not.
of those older monsters show back up, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Um, well, there was talk of them doing a crossover with Pacific Rim, and I talked about it with Robin a couple of weeks ago, and I said the perfect way they could do this is because the Jaegers wouldn't be able to do anything against Godzilla.
nope.
They fight him, they realize they can't beat him, and they make Mecha Godzilla out of that.
Oh yes, that would be cool.
It would be,
That would be cool.
and
Yeah,
it would be cool for me personally because Mecha Godzilla is my favorite monster out of the Godzilla series. Um,
I'm a Gigan fan.
specifically, the Gigan's really cool. Even though
Yeah,
he's only been in like maybe three films at the most.
yeah. Well, I like
But
the
yeah, he was
original
really cool.
version. I didn't like the
Yeah,
mummified version. I thought that was kind of
yeah,
silly, but that was yeah.
yeah. I like Gigan. The version of Mechagodzilla I like the most is the one from the Millennium series where he is crafted around the original skeleton of the first Godzilla,
Yes, yeah,
and and it just it has me interested the most in that one because it remembers it's Godzilla eventually, and essentially the way I look at it is it's the original Godzilla facing its offspring,
yeah.
and I just like the aspect of that. I was talking with the girl who plays 11 runs into the building, and when the smog monster comes. Yeah, that is the smog monster.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a messed up movie back in the day.
It was. They would it was supposed to rated G movies, but like the smog monster would like fly over top of people and they would just turn into skeletons.
Well, this comment should interest you. 2020
Ah,
Kong vs. Godzilla will introduce Gigan. Maybe
that would
that's
be
why they
cool.
team up.
Yes. That would be yeah, that would be
Um,
cool.
because if I remember correctly, there was a time where Gigan and King Ghidorah teamed up, and they could do something like that.
Yes. That was we said when Gigan and King Ghidorah, that was the one with Jet Jaguar in it.
You can throw him in
Uh
there.
yes. Yeah. That was when they had to go up against the Cetopians. They're
Yeah,
basically the Atlantean people, and they were tired of mankind dropping bombs on their underwater cities, so they send
yeah,
um, the cockroach. Was it Megalon? Or
yeah.
is it Megalon? Right?
It was Megalon.
Megalon. Okay. They send him up, and then he teams up. They get Space Hunter Nebula M to send Ghidorah down to help, and then it becomes a
Yeah,
tag team match between Jet Jaguar and Godzilla and
yeah,
Megalon, and that was a really good movie.
and that one introduced the Godzilla dropkick, where he glides on
Yes.
his tail and does his dropkick.
Yeah.
The original Godzilla versus Rodan is impossible to find. Well,
I don't.
there wasn't a
I don't know.
Godzilla versus Rodan. Um, Rodan and Godzilla were in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and they fought there briefly before they teamed up. Um, but there's really only Rodan and then Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I'm a huge Godzilla mark. Ask me anything. Trust me, I'm a big Godzilla fan too. So that was that was my first love. Before Star Wars, I was a huge Godzilla fan, um, and there are some pretty difficult ones to find. There's Destroy All Monsters, which is hard to find.
Yeah, that was a good
The
one.
original Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla is very, very hard to find.
Yeah.
You can find like bootleg versions, but they're all terrible.
Yeah.
Um, Recently, they released Godzilla 1984 on Blu-ray,
Oh,
and
they
it's the
did.
first time it's ever had an American release ever, like on home video or anything. Um, and it's not the Return of Godzilla one; it is the Japanese version of it. There's no Raymond Burr or anything in that. Um, Godzilla versus Biollante is another difficult one to find. But other than that, a lot of them are in like those combo packs that usually comes with all the Godzilla films and everything like that. But yeah, there's a select few that's very difficult to find. I think it might be studio issues or something like that. Every Godzilla film is on Blu-ray. Uh, I haven't seen all of them on Blu-ray. I guess I have to search a little bit better, but um, moving on from Godzilla, there were some other things that came out. There was Aquaman, and did you see the preview for that?
I did, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big Moa fan. Um,
Yeah,
the only thing that's really capturing my attention in that movie are the sea creatures. They look really
yeah,
cool.
they do.
That's about it. I mean,
Um,
yeah. So I mean,
yeah,
I mean, it's cool. I'll go. I'll watch it, but it's just not. I have a feeling we're gonna get another Wonder Woman, a good movie, but not like the greatest.
yeah.
Because it was, yeah,
I feel that Aquaman is going to be DC's version of Thor,
yeah, I
where
can see
he's going
that.
to be out of his element going into Atlantis versus where Thor went to Earth and he was out of his element there.
Yeah,
Um, it looks good. I'm still not a huge Aquaman fan to begin with. The
right.
only reason why people are interested in Aquaman is because of Jason Momoa.
Exactly. That's
Um,
about it.
they are riding great white sharks. Yes, they are. Um, Another one that caught my eye was Shazam. Um,
Shazam looks good.
it
I
looks
can't
very
wait for that.
fun. It looks like a very fun
It
movie.
looks like it'll be like DC's Thor Ragnarok style humor,
Definitely, definitely.
like we don't care kind of humor. And if
Yeah,
people complain about that, then because I'm not a DC fan or a Marvel fan. I'm just a comic book fan. But
yeah,
I happen to lean more towards Marvel because they've got stuff right.
yeah,
Um, but you know, Shazam looks like it's gonna be there. We don't care. It's gonna be a fun movie. And I
yeah,
think if people complain about that, then they're hypocritical on that sense because
yeah.
you can't condemn DC for doing something different and then love
No,
Marvel because
exactly. And it's the same thing with the people trashing Joss Whedon with his cut of Justice League. I liked
right.
it. I had no issues with it. they're all like, "Oh, Joss Whedon's a hack," and blah blah blah. I'm like, you do remember this is the guy that brought us the Avengers, right?
Exactly.
And it's funny how quick people forget about things like that.
Yeah.
Shazam, the second best movie trailer from San Diego Comic Con. Movie trailer, yes. We will get to that specific trailer that definitely beats Shazam. Um, there was also the reveal of Titans, which is going to be a live
Yeah.
action Teen Titans show. And I did not expect it to be rated R.
I didn't
Um,
either. They when they threw that one word out there, I was
F
like, wait.
Batman.
I had to rewind it for a second. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, did he just say what I think he said? And I
Yeah.
rewound it. I was like, he did say that. And I was
And
like,
what's
that's
even
cool.
better is it's Robin saying it too.
Yes.
Um, and I like the look of the show. I'm still very very angry with how they have Starfire look,
I
um,
am too.
where she looks like a $2 night lady. Um, Glass was a great trailer. We'll get to that in a little bit, probably after Titans. Raven looks fine for me. Um,
Beast
I'll
Boys
see.
keep he's Beast Boy's kind of cheesy looking too. He's
Yeah.
I
Um,
think
it
like I
honestly,
mean I understand they're trying to make it look realistic, but
yeah,
you know every version of him, cartoon, comic book, he's always got the green tint to his skin, and
yeah,
so I think by taking that away, now he just looks like any kid that dyes their hair green.
yeah. That's
Even his
true.
hair looks like it's just he went to Party City and got some spray and sprayed it in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
you know, Starfire. I have no problems except for the fact that they got her with a fur coat on and I don't know. It's just and then her hair color just again doesn't look natural enough. I mean,
yeah,
they could have went a little bit more, you know, realistic looking. If they're trying to make her an alien that's disguising herself, that's not
yeah.
very disguisingly,
As long
you know.
as that outfit is only one episode. If
Yes,
it's only one episode and she gets her classic look, I'll be fine. If that's her
yes,
full look for the entire show, I'll be mad.
because you know what. Well, you know what this looks like. So, Robin, they could just get rid of everybody else and just call this show Robin.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what they should have done because he looks perfect. The attitude, everything's perfect. But it looks like they're gearing up for a Marvel Inhumans.
Yeah, they are. They are.
That's what it looks like, and we know
Dick
how bad
Grayson.
that show was.
Dick Grayson is the Tim Drake Robin costume with Jason Todd's attitude. Yes, exactly. Although
Yes.
the thing that fascinates me is Jason Todd is showing up in the show.
Oh,
He is in the
okay.
cast list, just as Jason Todd. So either Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing later on, and Jason Todd becomes Robin, or something like that. But it's
Or
pretty much
maybe he. Well,
no,
if I haven't done much research on it. So if you're saying that he's in the cast, I don't know if you've read anything on it, but if he's just strictly in the cast, maybe he is Red Hood and just like not like how
maybe
to
they just have him Jason Todd so they don't spoil that Red Hood showing up.
exactly. So maybe
Okay.
he's back already, but he's just not in that point of time
Okay.
because he doesn't have to be Red Hood. He came back as a Red Hood as a
Yeah.
mockery to everybody, and
Yeah.
maybe at this point, you know, I guess we'll see. But that's good to know he's in it.
Yeah. Um, but it's still baffling to me that Dick Grayson is the one to say "F Batman."
I
If
know,
anything,
right?
if anything, it would have been Jason.
It would have been Jason Todd. It would have been him.
Yeah.
You know, maybe even Damien, but that's too far. I mean, that's a little bit too
Yeah.
too yeah. So I mean, that it's I know why they did it. They want to do it. It's gritty. They want to make it dark, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna cheer for Robin because he's like, you know, Batman. Um, but you know, but at the same time, we know that he wouldn't have been the one to say that.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
yeah. I will need to see a second trailer before I cast full judgment on the show. But
Exactly.
for now, it looks like the entire budget went to Robin's costume.
It went straight to his costume, and it's perfect. That's
Yeah.
why I say ditch everybody else and just call it Robin.
Yeah.
You know, or you could even just call the show, Grayson or something, like, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
the other people, so Raven looks the next best. Like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, we got to divide our budget up. We just spent 50% of it on Robin's costume, so now we got to divide it in the rest of these three characters. So
Yeah.
Raven gets the next best, and then they up the ante. Yeah, Starfire, it looks horrible, but it looks better than Beast Boys in
Yeah.
terms of how much effort they put into it. And then Beast Boys just green hair, and it just looks horrible. I mean, it's
Yeah.
cheesy looking. And again,
Um,
it looks like the Inhumans, like when
on the DC streaming service. I don't know too much about the DC streaming service. Um, it can be hit or miss because you have those fans that are strictly Marvel, you have them that are strictly DC, and you have them that are just strictly. You have ones that are strictly like shows, movies, comics. I'm not sure how well it will do compared to how the Disney streaming service is coming out next year. But I'll need more information about it before I can give
yeah,
a full estimate on
I
it.
personally, I don't see it being very successful, being that you got some decent DC movies. The animated movies, fine, perfect.
Yeah.
They would kill it on there. But I mean, really, do we really want to see Steel on streaming services?
Oh God.
Do we want to see that? I don't think so.
I forgot
you
about
know,
that movie.
maybe you should forget about it. Let's forget about it.
Oh, it's too late. You made me remember it.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie. I will watch the movie sometimes just as a popcorn flick. I'm bored.
Yeah.
Kind of like I do with Street Fighter, the movie,
Yeah.
and
Or
some,
Mortal
they're
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat and those type of movies, Street Fighter, those type of movies where they're horrible, but it's a guilty pleasure. So I'll
Yeah.
watch Steel sometimes, but oh my goodness, it's horrible.
They're having a Swamp Thing show on the DC streaming service.
Is that what it is?
That,
Okay, I knew they were going to make Swamp Thing, but I didn't know it was going to be on the streaming service. If it's
if they
anything like the
do,
USA, the '90s version, it would be. I'm watching it. I'm all
yeah.
for it.
The streaming service does have me concerned though. Is I like the Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, all on the CW. I don't want it to eventually be strictly to the streaming service. Um, Granted, yeah, all of them would be all together that way, but they're all together on the same network. So,
Yeah.
um, personally, I would like them to do a Batman series on the streaming service and have it follow. I know they already did a animated movie about it, but do the year one stuff with Batman. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, it's a horror-based show. That has me interested if it's a horror-based show.
Yeah. If it's horror based, because if they go with the Alan Grant when he took over,
Yeah,
um, and changed the whole storyline, um, then I could deal with that. Where it really wasn't Alec Holland. He was just had Alec Holland's memories.
yeah,
I kind of didn't like that, but then it was a cool idea. I'm hit or miss on that. So if they captured that spirit, because we already seen Alec Holland in the '90s, that was a good show. Except they only went two seasons, and then they started messing up and it canceled. But if
Yeah.
they do a horror-based one, as long as it's better than Man-Thing was, if they did, remember that movie, the live action?
That's actually not bad for the streaming service.
That's not bad, except for the fact that it's so many streaming services now. It's like now I gotta sit here and think which ones am I gonna keep. I have
Yeah.
a feeling Netflix is gonna go.
It's possible, but it'll be a
No, I'm talking about for
little
me. I'm
while
talking
before.
what I'm gonna get rid of.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah,
meant it was going to go
Netflix is
offline. I'm
gonna
like, I
go.
don't think so, but
No, it'll stay around, but I'm not gonna keep it if I'm getting a Disney one, you know.
yeah, because seeing
Oh,
all
you
the
can
Marvel
read
stuff,
comics. Did you see that?
is going to the Disney streaming service.
Yeah, because Hulu, they
Um,
already own 30% of Hulu, so
yeah.
they said that they'll keep the rated R stuff over on Hulu, and then
Okay.
yeah, but we'll get to the Disney stuff later.
You get to read that has me
See, that
interested.
would work.
That
That
has
would
me
work.
very interested.
Yeah, imagine that on your 53-inch screen TV, you can just watch you can read, you know,
That would be really
you'll be able
cool.
to kind of, yeah, it would be cool.
Okay, that honestly, that's actually buying me for the DC streaming service, just so I
Yes,
can read new comics on there or even old ones.
even old
Um,
ones like they have archive. That would be cool.
oh God. I would just love to read the first issue of Batman now.
Yes.
And then to point out that to people that he used a gun back in the early comics.
That or he was snapping people's necks and stuff. You know, people
Yeah.
don't believe me when I say that they retconned him to be good. Everybody says, "Oh, Batman doesn't kill Batman." Because Batman used to kill
Yeah.
with extreme prejudice. He didn't care. He just would snap your neck.
he he was pretty much the Punisher before the Punisher.
Yes, yes. No, I
and
agree. That's why
and
I'm so in love with the Earth 2 and the Thomas Wayne version, because
yeah,
he just comes in with the guns and it's just bad. I love it.
yeah. Might need two TVs for the nerd cave if that's the case. Definitely. Um, it's called DC Universe. Google it. That's too much effort. I don't want to Google
Yeah, I don't
it.
want to go. That's why I'm behind now, because I'm just been too lazy to do anything.
I'll just wait till it comes out and I'll just do it for a month, see if I like it, and then if I do, I'll just do the annual one.
You just get it over with. That's what I do
Yeah.
with Sirius XM. How much is it for the year? $70? Yeah, here. That way I don't have to worry about the monthly payments and stuff, because I forget.
Yeah.
So, so now that he brought that up, with just the comics alone, is
Yeah.
cool. You
It's
know,
very cool.
yeah,
Um, that has me actually really excited because it'll have the entire Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns stuff as well.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
because I
Because
haven't
part
read,
three is so long.
yeah, I haven't read the first one that he did or the third one. I've only read Dark Knight Returns. Um,
Okay.
so, and I know Batman is a giant jerk in that comic series, just judging from
Oh yeah.
the Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
If he wants to binge it, Brian. Well, no, I'll be able to binge it once I get the DC streaming service or DC Universe, whatever it's going to be called. There's so many universes. um, but as time goes on, we'll talk more about the streaming service coming out. Doom Patrol is another show coming to it.
Doom Patrol. Wow. Okay. So they got some good ideas then. It's not
Yeah,
because my thing with streaming services is, are you going to have enough content? We know
yeah,
Disney's got more than enough content for a streaming
easily.
service, easily.
Um,
But if you got DC, I'm like, what do they got? They got some really bad movies. They got a few hits. The animated movies are phenomenal, but
yeah,
like I said, if you're starting to show some of the, if you're able to go on the streaming service and open up comic books and just flip through them like off your TV, that's
yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Great idea. And I'm
And
hoping maybe Marvel or Disney will follow suit.
they probably will.
Yeah,
Um,
they got
because
to keep up.
I'd love to read the first Spider-Man issues and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Off topic. Someone told me that that Gwen Stacy was not important to Peter Parker at all in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was a huge driving factor for him after she died. If I'm
Yeah,
correct.
she meant a lot to him because you know, you got to remember after because he was the cause of her death. You know, he thought he had saved her and everything like that, and that
Yeah,
just broke him up. So, but you know, the problem is Marvel retcons so much stuff that it's hard to keep up with what's actually canon and what's not anymore.
yeah,
So it's possible now that maybe the whole thing with Civil War and him revealing himself to the world, and they're like, oh, that was a big mess up. We just messed ourselves up. How are we gonna fix this? So let's just
yeah,
cop out and say Mephisto came in and made it like he's not even married anymore to Mary Jane, and all this stuff never happened. So I don't know if anything, maybe that changed something or not with Gwen
yeah,
Stacy. Originally, yes, it that's what really turned him into a kind of like a brooding kind of guy.
yeah,
But it's hard to say now because the storylines get so messed up. They get,
yeah.
oh, let's just change this, or whatever. Um, so yeah,
Okay, so who's doing the animated series? Because that has me. There can only be two people that can do that animated series. Paul Dini
yeah.
and
Tim,
I'm Tim. What's his name?
um, I'm out of it right now.
Paul Dini and the other guy that did the Batman the animated series.
Yes,
Um,
Tim. Ah, I'm done. My brain is fried.
yeah, I can't remember right now, but if, Brian, if you remember, you can put it in the comments. That's the good thing about it. But also, to stay on the topic of DC, I don't know if you saw what they announced, but speaking of the Batman the Animated Series, it is officially going to finally be on Blu-ray, the entire animated series. Also, it's going to have Mask of the Phantasm and Batman and
Nice,
Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. So two of
nice.
the animated films that they did for that.
Okay,
And it's coming out in October. And it's going to be
okay.
all four volumes in one pack.
Nice. That's beautiful. That's how you
Yeah.
can sit there and watch that all every day. You come home and just pop it in and just watch it because that was such a good show.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah,
Even Batman Beyond was good too.
Batman
Um,
Beyond was good. I didn't think I would like it. I didn't think I would like it. I started watching. I was like, this is actually pretty good. And now
yeah.
that they actually inserted it as canon in the comic books, makes it
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that one episode where um, there was a crime going on. I can't remember exactly what happened, but everything tied to Bane. And
Yeah.
so he sends Terry McGinnis. He sends Terry in to infiltrate Bane's house.
Yeah.
And when he walks in, and Bane's just sitting in the wheelchair on an oxygen respirator. He's about as skinny as I am, frail looking. And they're like, "Oh, wasn't him," because all the years of using venom just tore his body up. I thought that
Yeah.
was just awesome. Like how they,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what did it for. I was like, I'm hooked on this show.
What got me hooked on the show was sadly the Mr. Freeze episode where he
Yes,
finally got a new body and unfortunately they double crossed him. And unfortunately, that was his death at the end.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Mr. Freeze, and all the years of his comics or his run, he's never had a happy ending.
Nope.
Um, which is why I don't class him as a villain. Um,
He's a tragic.
he's a
Um,
tragic character um,
yes.
because he only does stuff to save his wife.
Right.
And the only time he gets to see his wife again in the comics, she becomes the opposite of him. She becomes fire. And he freezes her, pretty much killing her.
Okay.
In Arkham Knight, she gets taken out of the um, yeah, why am I blanking on it? The cryo chamber. Um, she gets taken out of that, but she's still sick. And she goes, I could hear him just going insane, and I wish I could tell him to like stop. And he goes, um, I can't save you. Maybe there's another way. And she's like, I don't want you to. And he's like, we won't have much time, maybe days. And that was the end of their story in Arkham Knight, was they just went off
Okay.
for her final days.
That's interesting. I didn't catch that story.
It was part of the Season of Infamy DLC. Um,
Okay.
and it's very sad because Mr. Freeze never catches a break. He was Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger wearing fuzzy slippers. um,
He died to you.
oh, God. And then he was just a joke in the early run, and then he got made popular due to the animated series, and after that, he got more popular.
Yeah.
Um, but he's never had a happy ending, and it makes me sad. He deserves his happy ending. Um,
Yep.
moving from that, there was also the trailer for Glass, which
Yes.
is a sequel to, correct me if I'm wrong, the movie Unbreakable
Unbreakable and Split.
and Split. For someone who has not seen any of the films, it looks very interesting.
Oh, yep. Yo,
Um,
you got to see them. You got to check them out. So
huge news about Fox/Disney. Uh, okay. Um, I kind of expected that news to probably come soon. Um, but wait, now, so not off topic with Glass. Now, with them getting 20th Century Fox buying it or whatever, are they going to be able to use the 20th Century Fox logo in front of Star Wars now?
ooh, I would think they would. It would be, you pay all that money for it, you might as well use your stuff, use the stuff.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
especially for Episode 9. Um,
Yes.
but back to Glass, it definitely has me interested. Um, I will eventually watch the two films because they're all connected.
They are connected.
And
We'll see. Okay, so the first movie Unbreakable was really good, but the
yeah,
biggest complaint that people have is it's really slow and it kind of drags out. And the
okay,
reason that is because Unbreakable was originally supposed to be a, a trilogy.
okay,
So it was supposed to be. So the first one was kind of slow and builds up, but then I don't know, for whatever reason, it became a solo movie, which turned out to be good. It was really good, really good.
yeah,
Um, and then all these years later, you go and watch Split, and it ties into Unbreakable. So it flipped me out because I wasn't expecting that. And now they've done the trailer for Glass, and it just ties both of those two together and adds this third movie in, and it just looks That looks phenomenal. I can't wait for it.
Yeah. No matter what, I'll still just see Sam Jackson as either Mace Windu or Nick Fury. So
Yes.
it's just Nick Fury before he disappears in Infinity War.
Yes.
When he breaks out, he goes to get Maria Hill, and then he disappears.
Yeah.
And then James McAvoy turns into Professor X during the middle of the film.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
you do it. I
Bruce
need to.
Willis becomes John McClane.
Yes, yes. And then Alan Rickman comes back from the dead.
Yeah.
His best role was in Dogma, though.
Which one? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Dogma.
I forgot. I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That that movie still surprises me that Kevin Smith got Alan Rickman in that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And a fun fact: do you listen to Kevin Smith's podcast at all, or anything like that?
I I just follow him really on social media. I don't really get into. I need to start getting more into the podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, what did he say? Or
Well, after Dogma was done, whenever Alan Rickman was in California, he would
yeah,
call up Kevin Smith and be like, "We're going out to dinner" and stuff like that.
okay,
So he pretty much became friends with Kevin Smith, and I just find that really cool.
that
Uh,
is cool. That is cool.
yeah, and it just shows how classy Alan Rickman was.
Yeah.
Um, Moving from Glass, there wasn't too much with Marvel. I was kind of surprised. They did show the full, from what I heard, they showed the full body of Venom. Um, just an image. He will not have the classic spider on his chest. He'll still have white, but it won't be the spider. It's essentially the ultimate universe of Venom. It's that
Okay.
version of him. Um, there wasn't too much shown with Venom besides his full shot. There was not a second trailer, which I was surprised with that because at this point you would kind of want to put out a second trailer.
I thought they said there was one.
If there was, I haven't seen it. Or
Well, I didn't see. I heard that because I read somebody's what what they did it like word for word what happened because they couldn't no leakage whatever. But
yeah,
I guess they had said that that scene they finally show what happens after the scene where he goes, "We are Venom," and and,
yeah.
and the suit forms over him. I read that it actually bites the guy's head off.
Oh, so it is going to be rated R. That is
It's
good.
rated R, and I found that interesting because if you go back to the original comics, um, they have to have the symbiotes have to have dopamine, which is created from the brain, and that's
Yeah,
why in the original run of Lethal Protector and stuff, Venom ate brains, and it was because he had to have the dopamine to calm the symbiote down.
yeah.
So I have a feeling we're going to get into now that he has to eat brains, which as that's classic Venom.
Yeah. They fired Gunn. That was the biggest new Marvel news.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a shame.
it is.
All I gotta say
But
about that. Oh, go ahead.
no, you can go first.
Oh, all I gotta say is if you are a director, an actor, get off social media because if they fired James Gunn for that, they could go back and fire anybody for anything they said in the past.
Yeah,
Whether they could have been just joking around or whatever. What he said might have been bad at the time, but we all mature, and that happened in the past.
yeah,
And Disney's trying to make themselves look good. Oh, we're this, and this with. with all the, but at the same time, they could get any one of their directors or something and come back and then you could just fire everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's going to boil down to. You're not safe in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah. All right. Carnage and Scream are in the Venom. I just heard it was Riot, and then Carnage would
I heard
have
it
to
was
be
Riot.
one.
Carlton Drake will become Riot.
Okay.
Is what I understand. But I did hear rumors that Carnage was going to be the bad guy, but this was before we saw any trailers or anything.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, there is a still where if you look in Venom's eye, it looks like Carnage's face is reflected into the eye. Now, it looks like it could be Carnage, or it looks like it just be a fluke of just the way the reflection is. So we don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but yeah, it's pretty. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's too early for Carnage. If you're
Definitely.
gonna make, most of these movies become trilogies, Carnage should be introduced in the second movie.
Yeah. What they could do, and I see them doing this, introduce Carnage at the end, just show Carnage, and then he'll be the main focus of the second one.
Yes. And you could introduce Cletus Cassidy
Yeah.
in the movie. That would be cool. You get, just bring in a guy, which could be Cameron Monaghan from Gotham.
Yeah. Could be.
Because he looks like Carnage. Like,
He does.
and
He really
when he
does.
looks, yes, when he's just regular Jerome in the show without
Yeah.
the makeup, he looks like Cletus Cassidy. He's got the red hair, he's got the
Yeah.
facial structure, because Carnage was supposed to be the Joker anyway. So
Yeah.
they have that look. He could play Cletus Cassidy easily.
Easily. No.
We'll see, because if Carnage is a female, I mean, I've got sources that said that Transformers, the Seeker jet was Starscream. Now they're saying, then somebody said then they said it was Ramjet. Now they're saying it's Blitzwing. So, we got, you can get the sources, but I want to make sure that Carnage, I mean, the way they're messing up storylines, I could see them changing Carnage to a female, but I find it highly unlikely because of Cletus Cassidy being as iconic of a character as he is.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other female. It's not just Scream as a female symbiote. Yes, you have others too. So
Yeah.
let's hope that Carnage, is not a female.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm holding out hope for that.
Yeah, I
Carnage
hold
is
out.
um, but yeah, my thoughts on the James Gunn situation. I I get he was joking, but in the same way, I can understand the studio's situation in that too, because they're so out in the public and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it, yeah, he was stupid for what he said, but
Oh yeah.
he should have also, after he realized how stupid they were, he should have deleted them right there and then.
Yeah, he
Because
should have.
I understand they were still on his Twitter. That's what got him.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
If he
somebody
had
dug
deleted
him
them
up.
and everything, then he would have been still the director of Guardians 3.
Yes.
Um,
But it's not going to be pretty. I think Disney is going to bite the bullet on this one, because there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to go see the movie now because of that. They're going to
yeah,
boycott it. Michael Rooker already quit, even though his character died off anyway. But he
yeah,
quit. He's going to have nuts. So even if they hired him on to do some like flashback scenes or something, he's already quit. And I don't know. We'll see what the other actors are going to do,
yeah.
because
Um,
it kind of reminds me of when BBC fired. Oh, I'm sorry, I lost my Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear
yeah,
because of some stuff he said, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well we're going to keep the show going," and then James May and Richard Hammond said, "Oh, you think we're gonna keep going without him? Bye," and they
Yeah.
quit. And so they lost one of the best automotive shows in the world because of that. And I have a feeling that that could be what happens to Disney with this Guardians of the Galaxy crew.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll find,
It's very
it's,
possible.
yeah.
Um, Hopefully it doesn't happen because we still have Avengers 4.
Yes.
Which I'm surprised we didn't even get what the subtitle is for that,
I know.
or anything from Captain Marvel.
Well, they're
I
probably
expected
saving it for D23, or they probably want to
to.
do it because Disney's really big about their own conventions now.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know what I mean? Like Disney wants to be proprietary. I'm sorry, proprietary. That's why they're doing the streaming service. That's why, and they always like to show their stuff at their own conventions.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's probably what we're going to do. We're going to see more of that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
which is
um,
a shame. It's a shame,
it
but
really
they did
is.
have a nice setup.
Yeah,
Did you see they had like all the suits from the 10 years? Because I
yeah.
was looking, I was like, ooh, there's the Ronin costume. That's ripe for the picking. Like if I was there, I probably would have jacked that thing.
um, you could have just been in your Ronin makeup and everything and just put it on. Nobody would have noticed.
No,
You could have swapped it. You could have swapped it
yeah,
with your cosplay. Nobody would have
yeah.
noticed.
Nobody
Your
would have
cosplay
known.
is that good.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
You know I love your cosplays, so.
I appreciate
Um,
it.
and you must be extra happy that he is going to be returning in Captain Marvel.
Yes, and I've been trying to find information because I want to get the jump on the costume because I
Yeah,
have a feeling what's going to happen is they're going to try and make him go since it's all like Kree orientated. I have a feeling he's going to have his green costume from the comic books.
yeah, yeah. He will.
Kind of idea. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Um,
Uh,
my thoughts on that is because Nick Fury, he still has both of his eyes in this film.
yes.
I think Ronan is the one that he trusted.
Ooh,
I think that would be really interesting.
that would be interesting.
And yes, Tim is amazing.
Ah, thanks, Anthony. You get a shout out. Thanks, bro.
Um, but from what I've heard with Avengers 4, it's going to deal with time travel.
Okay.
Because from what I've seen from set photos, is they go back to the first Avengers film because Captain America is in his original Captain America suit from the
Oh,
Avengers.
wow.
Tony
Okay.
Stark, Iron Man is Mark, whatever that suit was. And yeah, everyone, it's dealing with time travel. They're going back to find the Infinity Stones before all of this happens.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's kind of cool, actually.
It really is. And man, nothing's going to top what happened in Infinity War, but
Yeah, because that was like, they did like, oh my God, it
they
was
did the
such a good
unthinkable.
movie. It was all happy. They knew how to blend everything. It went
Yeah,
from how they went from scene to scene, like they went how they blended that together. All of a sudden,
yeah,
space, and it's like now you're back in the '80s with the Guardians flying in the
yeah.
ship, and they're jamming to the '80s music.
Avengers 4
Um,
trailer supposedly to be with Aquaman. I can see that because Aquaman is in December and Avengers 4 is in May. So they would want to promote it as much as they can because Captain
yep, and you
Marvel is
know
the
what?
beginning of the year.
If people know that the Avengers 4 trailer will be in the Aquaman movie,
People will
DC
go
might
see
be
it.
like, let's get it in there because that's gonna get people to go see our movie. Cause I'll go see Aquaman if it's just to see the trailer for.
Yeah.
I most certainly would.
What if it's a trailer for? Well, no, it'll probably be too soon. What if it's a trailer for episode 9?
Oh yes, yeah, that'd be
Because
awesome.
if you guys didn't hear the news, they started filming for episode 9 the other day. Um, they've officially been filming for about 3 to 4 days now.
Okay.
For episode 9 is on the way.
Nice.
And speaking of Star Wars, this is the main event for the San Diego Comic Con talk. They had a Clone Wars panel, and there was something very, very special with that panel. And it shocked me, everyone at the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network, but I had been calling it for at least a good month since they announced it that they were doing a reunion season and the Clone Wars is coming back. Next year, when the Disney streaming service is up, the Clone Wars will be returning for 12 episodes. It will wrap up everything from the Clone Wars. It will finish everything with Obi-Wan and Maul until Rebels, and it will tie up all the loose ends. Anakin looks like Anakin from Revenge of the Sith. He has the long hair and everything. Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith. They are literally, it's 12 episodes, and right at the end, because I heard, should have known with, yeah, that too, with the Clone Wars pops and everything. Because Dave Filoni already talked about it. The end of Clone Wars, they'll be doing the siege of Mandalore, going after Maul. Anakin and Obi-Wan will get a message from either Mace Windu or someone from Coruscant saying the Chancellor has been kidnapped. Anakin goes to Ahsoka and says how proud of her he is and everything like that. And he goes, I hope you don't think I was going to leave you alone. The doors behind him open, and it's all the 501st, all in Ahsoka's color scheme and everything like that. And he walks off to go and save the Chancellor. And that's the last time Ahsoka sees Anakin.
Oh, yes.
And the way I would love it to end is it's Ahsoka out during Order 66, and maybe Captain Rex helping her because he removed the chip that would make him execute Order 66, so he wouldn't turn. So it could be her and him surviving after Order 66, and then it cuts to Vader on his Star Destroyer, and like the Republic kind of cruiser kind of Star Destroyer, like the very early ones.
Yeah.
And he's just looking out the window, the classic image. He's looking down, and then he looks up, sensing Ahsoka's presence.
That's amazing.
Now, were you a Clone Wars fan?
I was late to the party because I never had cable for a while. So I never watched it, but once it dropped on Netflix, I binge watched the whole the whole show, and I liked it. So it was, yeah, I liked it. So I'm pretty excited to see a little bit more. 12, that's a good start.
Yeah.
I think I know why they're doing it to promote their streaming services, but hey, if we get more Clone Wars, that's cool.
Yeah. And now, as for someone who is interested in Clone Wars, but were kind of put off by the prequels, how would you kind of steer someone to watch the Clone Wars?
I would tell them that it's a really good, like, okay, so animation aside, I was never really a big fan of the animation style. Like,
Yeah.
the beards are all blocky and, just like don't move and stuff. But it was dark, and I like dark stuff. I mean, come on. I was like, whoa, this is a kid's show. This dude just got his head cut off. Or like, oh man, that lightsaber just went straight through his heart. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I'm like, that is really cool. So I would tell people that it's great stories. If you like Star Wars, it's the great Star Wars storyteller. And then you'll forget about the animation as you're watching it. Character, you feel sorry for the clones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, but we're just clones, and it's like, oh, he died, and it's like nobody cares about the clones. That guy just died. The clone just got killed, and you're just expendable, and they kind of know it. So it's
Yeah.
like then you even feel worse for them because you know. So I tell people, I was like, you know, they got great homages to, you know, stuff, and you know, you get to see Anakin not whiny and stuff like that, like you did in the prequels, and you know, I mean, it's a good show, and I would tell
Yeah.
people give it a shot. You know, the prequels, the problem I have with the prequels, I've told people, was it just to it they were trying to go out in left field. They were trying
Yeah.
something different. And if you look at the newer movies today, they have that original feel to them.
Yeah.
Just the way they look. It's not bright and vivid and stuff like that, like over CGI laden. It was just like, you know, the CGI just looked horrible even for that. I was like, come on, George Lucas, you could have done a little bit better with some of the CGI. But that was my biggest problem with the
Yeah.
prequels, was really that. I had no real gripes. It was still Star Wars, good Star Wars storytelling, interesting
Yeah.
characters, bizarre characters, which I really like. That's one thing I like about Star Wars is the characters. They're just like, they're so out there that, you know, you love them. They're
Yeah.
originally built, you know. So I would tell people, you know, give Clone Wars a chance.
Yeah.
Start watching it now so that when next
Exactly.
year comes, you'll be able to just jump right in. Because I know all y'all are getting that streaming service.
Yep.
I know I am.
Yep. Because not only is Clone Wars going to be on there, but there's also going to be a live action series directed by Jon Favreau, and it is covering the events after Return of the Jedi.
Nice. I didn't know all of this. This is
Yep.
cool.
And
If you guys don't know, he is Happy Hogan in the Iron Man series.
yep. And
Directed.
he is also Pre Vizsla in the Clone Wars.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
And he
So
also
he already
directed
has it
the
in.
Jungle Book.
And also, if you've seen Solo: A Star Wars Story, he is also Rhea.
He is. And if you
So
liked the Jungle Book, he
yeah.
directed that. So, and that was a good movie. So if you look at him as a director, you don't take it because you think of him as Happy Hogan. You're like, oh, really? But then you look and like, wow, this guy actually does good directing, right?
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool to know.
Okay. Brian actually has something interesting here. The last episode of Clone Wars will be the beginning of episode 3. That
Ooh, that
has to be
makes sense.
very interesting.
I like
Interesting.
that. That
Yeah.
is.
Um,
Wow. And then see, that's good. That's bridging the gap.
yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, I would be totally fine if they did an entire episode of Clone Wars, legit just episode 3. I would
Yes.
love
Oh,
to hear the voice actor's portrayal with episode 3 and everything.
oh yeah.
Especially Matt Lanter as Anakin. He kills it as Anakin.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and they would obviously get Ian McDermott back to be Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
They already did with Rebels. Spoiler alert.
Okay. No, 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 you're fine. I'm about to get into that again because it's hard. I have to, you know, it's hard for me to try and get into stuff. If you watch. Okay.
It does. It does. It really does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's good because I really like this stuff bridging the gaps in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just how I would describe Clone Wars for people looking to get into it that were put off by the prequels. If you want to see how Anakin's fall to the dark side progressed, Clone Wars definitely touches on it a lot. Um,
Yes.
you see a lot of him flirting with the dark side, and the way you can tell when he flirts with the dark side is they will play Vader's music at certain points when he's
Yes. Yeah.
being kind of not a nice Jedi. um, and if you want to see how Darth Maul came back, it covers that. And that is easily the best arc in Clone Wars was Maul's return and everything for me. Um, just how he would taunt Obi-Wan about killing Qui-Gon and everything. Speaking of which, there is going to be a new Star Wars book coming out, and it's going to be following Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's going to be called
Ah,
Master and Apprentice.
nice. Okay. I will. I'll have to scope that one out then, because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. There is no cover for it. It was literally just announced. There's
Okay.
that, and they're doing a new comic run, three new comic runs. They're called Star Wars Age of the Republic, Age of Rebellion, and Age of Resistance.
Hmm.
And they're all done by different writers and everything, so they're all going to
Okay.
have a unique storytelling to them.
Okay.
Um, now, yeah, I'd say with Rebels, they definitely the animation is different. It's similar to the Clone Wars, but the beards are more realistic. They're not as like pointy or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, because you do see Obi-Wan again as Old Ben, and his beard is normal again. Um, Voiced by Steven Stanton, and he sounds exactly like Alec Guinness.
Nice.
And you see a lot of Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh,
Um,
sweet. Yes. Always like I. Yeah.
you see a lot of him. You get introduced to Inquisitors, pretty much Dark Jedi, that do Vader and the Emperor's bidding. If Vader
Okay.
is busy dealing with other stuff and can't kill Jedi, they send the Inquisitors after you.
Okay.
And the first season, the main Inquisitor is called the Grand Inquisitor, and he is voiced by Jason Isaacs.
Okay. Is he the bald
Um,
guy? That
yeah, yes.
Okay.
There's the Grand Inquisitor. Now in season two, they introduce the fifth brother and the seventh sister,
Okay.
two Inquisitors. They are kind of a lower class Inquisitor compared to the Grand one. What's funny is Freddie Prinze Jr. voices Kanan Jarrus, who is the main Jedi character,
Oh, cool.
and his wife voices the seventh sister. So
That's cool.
it's Freddie Prinze Jr. lightsaber fighting his wife. So
That's pretty epic, actually. How many people can say
and
that?
in season two, they brought in Darth Vader, um, and they brought James Earl Jones back to voice Darth Vader for it.
Nice.
It is it's just awesome to hear. Yeah, it was awesome to hear Vader in Rogue One, um, but Vader does a lot more in Rebels than he did in Rogue One. Granted, what he did in
Okay.
Rogue One was very effective, but what he does in Rebels is very effective too, because you
Okay.
see how he strategizes stuff, um, and how smart Vader is.
Yeah.
Um, and if you were wondering how a lightsaber fight between Ahsoka and Anakin slash Vader would go, they do have a lightsaber duel.
Okay.
And in season three, they introduce Grand Admiral Thrawn. Um, Thrawn is very, very intelligent. Like he will outthink everything that the rebels does. Um, he will go out of his way to know every little detail on who he's going to kill.
Okay.
Um, which actually, the new Thrawn book that came out is pairing both Grand Admiral Thrawn and Darth Vader together for the first time.
Okay.
Um, and if you were at San Diego Comic Con, they had an exclusive cover for that book. It was Anakin Skywalker and General Thrawn during the Clone Wars.
Oh, cool. That is awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get a solo sequel. Um, maybe
Oh
not
yeah,
too
yeah,
soon, but we're definitely getting one. It
yeah.
was it was too much of a good film for me to leave it like untouched for something else. I think
Right.
they're going to do a Lando film. The Lando film will essentially be the sequel to Solo,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
where because obviously Han's going to meet Jabba, and well, that is kind of a tricky thing because he knows about the Force, but he doesn't believe in it in New Hope, so he can't really interact with someone who has the Force.
Right, right.
Spoiler alert, Darth Maul. Um, but yeah, it's very iffy with that because you kind of can't have him interact with someone with the Force until he interacts with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke, and eventually Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Um, if you read the comics, he encounters Vader quite kind of a bit. Um, but yeah, very excited for Clone Wars to come back. Um, I can't wait to see how they wrap things up. But I'm also interested to see what they do with the new animated series Resistance, um,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
which is premiering this October. It is going to be done in the style of anime, so it's a new
Okay.
animation style, and it is
Nice.
5 years before The Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
Um, it will be about a double agent who's working for the Resistance, getting information the from the First Order and everything. Um, it's essentially dealing with a pilot because Dave Filoni loves like um, World War. His grandfather was in World War II, so he loved the stories and everything that his grandfather would tell. So he
Okay.
kind of incorporated that into his stuff.
Okay.
Um, there's not much that is known about this yet, other than it's 5 years before The Force Awakens, and it's a double agent working for the Resistance. Personally, I would like Kylo Ren to at least make an appearance. He
Oh
doesn't have
yeah.
to be he doesn't have to be in it in every episode, but at least show him on what he's
Right.
doing in between each time,
Yeah.
because we don't really know. Um, Honestly, I don't really know how old he was when he turned to the dark side. Um,
Yeah.
'Cause they didn't really touch on that too much. Granted, he looked like he was 16 when Luke tried to kill him in his sleep. Um, so I'd say maybe around 16. No, 16 would put it too early. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, he's been on the dark side for a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also want to see where how the Republic stands, because Republic will be a thing within the show because it's still around.
Right.
Uh, I wonder if they'll touch on Han and Leia's separation, which I'm pretty sure the dark Ben going to the dark side was what drove that rift. Um, I know. God, why am I blanking on his name? Um, Poe. The
Oh,
why am I blanking on his name?
which one?
Poe Dameron. His
Dameron? Yeah.
the actor's name. Um,
Oh, the guy Oscar. Um,
Oscar Isaac.
Isaac Oscars.
Um,
I'm
Oscar
sorry.
Isaac. He's coming back to voice Poe Dameron in that, and
Oh,
Gwen
okay.
Christie is coming back to voice Captain Phasma. I don't care about Captain Phasma anymore. Um,
Oh, I want to see her come back. Like she could come back now as like this like mangled up thing. That would be like kind of cool. Like, you know what I mean? That would be pretty awesome actually.
it would be, but
No, I'm she's gone. They wasted the character
Thank
and
you, Brian.
it was a
Can't
shame.
help you. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Resistance. I like that they're doing it in a different animation style, and they're doing kind of like an anime style. Um, I don't think we will really see any lightsabers, um, unless if it's like Kylo Ren raging on his computer.
Yeah.
Um, but when more information comes out about Resistance, I'll discuss more about it and everything like that.
Okay.
But we're gonna move to the convention talk. Now, for first-time con goers, what would your kind of three tips be for a first-time con goer?
I would tell people to look for a convention in your hometown, something small, like the ones that are held like in a hotel
Yeah,
convention, or like, ballroom or whatever, or, and just go there and see what it's like. And then that before you go to like a big one, because the big ones can get overwhelming.
yeah,
So, but if you want to just brave it and just go like say, hey, I'm going to go to New York City Comic Con, and you just go, you've never been to one, it can get overwhelming. So
yeah,
if you one of those type of just that are brave and just going to do that, wear comfortable shoes. Um, Try to take a book bag with like what you're doing right now, bottles of water,
yeah,
because the place can get expensive. But you also don't want to take a lot of stuff either, because they're going to search your bag and you don't need a whole. But just take the essentials, some
yeah,
bottles of water, maybe some snacks, because it can get a little bit expensive inside the convention centers. Um, if you are a person that doesn't like to be around people, or people can overwhelm you, you might want to take that in consideration. They can get
yeah.
pretty, like last year at New York City Comic Con, it was really bad. Like it was just a
Really?
madhouse. It was ridiculous. And if you could have a panic attack or something like that. Other than that, that would be my thing, is I would just experiment with a small convention in your hometown. If you look up on the internet, you could probably find one that you didn't even know existed in your hometown.
Yeah,
Go to that, see what it's about. It's usually a milder version of what you would see at a big con. Um,
yeah,
if you don't want to spend money, you go there with a budget. Hey, I'm going to look for this guy's artwork, or I want this comic book. Make a list before you go of things you want. And when you
yeah,
get there, you're going to see stuff that you want, but you got to stop and think, do I need it? Because I used to do that. I would go to a convention and I would just blow $300, $400. And I'm like, why? Once I got into costuming, that cut back a lot, because you're looking
yeah,
like, oh, I want that action figure, but I don't want to carry it around, so I'm not buying it. So it helps when you costume. It really
yeah,
does. But yeah, I would tell people, go there with a budget, make sure you know what you're looking for before you get there. Have a plan, stick to it. Don't, hey, I'm going to spend $100, spend $100. Don't go in there and just buy stuff right away either. You go
yeah,
around, walk around, write a list down if you want to. Oh, booth 1387's got this. Booth number, 240 has this. And then at the end of the day, you can say, I'm going to go with what was at booth 240 instead of the
yeah,
1387, and go buy that. That'll help you out too. If you can, don't just go in there and buy stuff at the first booth you get to, and then the
yeah,
second booth, third booth. Next thing you know, you go through half the con and you see something that you really wanted, and
yeah,
now you spend all your money. So that's
yeah,
another thing. So comfortable clothing, water, a little small book bag, a little small satchel or whatever. If you have kids, keep an eye on them
yeah,
at all times. I used to take my daughter. My daughter was 5 years old when she went to her first convention, and she was in love. All she wanted to do was take pictures with people. And I was like, at one point, she tried to. I was like, look, Winter, you got to stay with me. She was just so excited, and within a second, that kid could be gone.
Yeah,
And I hate to say it, but you got some creepy people at these conventions, so
you
you have to
do.
watch your kids at all times.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So that's some of my bigger tips. Just comfortable clothing, water, watch your kids,
yeah,
and have a budget. Don't spend all your money at the first booth when you go in. Just walk around and see what's going on. A lot of times you can look online. They'll tell you who's going to be at the convention. Also, don't get disappointed if that celebrity backs out at the last minute.
yeah,
That happens.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
another thing you gotta look out for. So you can plan it. Just look on there. They'll tell you what panels are there, what times, who's gonna be there, and then you can kind of make your plans from that.
yeah.
And just like I said, it's fun.
It really is. My tips for cons: don't, me personally, and for you to take into consideration, don't feel like you have to dress up. Um,
Yeah,
if you feel if you want to, definitely do it. But it's not an essential thing. It's for people to do to express what they love. Um, but it's not required for Comic Con or any convention you go to. And if people tell you otherwise, then they're not doing conventions right. Um,
exactly.
Granted, my first convention was Anime Boston, which is a pretty big convention. Um, and ever since the first day of Anime Boston, I was hooked on conventions. Um, I've gone to Anime Boston for about, I went for about 4 years. Then Rhode Island Comic Con went for about 4 years for that. Now this year is my first year going to Boston Comic Con, so I'm pretty excited for that. Um, other tips, cosplayers generally they don't mind taking pictures, um, but my personal opinion, ask before you take the picture, um, or kind of time when you're gonna ask for a picture. Don't go up to them when they're on lunch or something like that, because then they're just gonna get aggravated. Um, but generally, ask for a pic, ask to take their picture beforehand. Don't stand off in a corner and just take a picture that way. Don't be that guy or
Yeah.
girl or whatever you are. um,
Yeah, because and I'll just real quick. What happens is sometimes the costumer is not they don't want to have a picture on the internet of themselves looking silly, so they might
yeah,
not be in the right pose. You might not be getting a good angle or shot that they want or whatever, or they might not even have their gloves like even you take a pic. Like I've had people, hey, can I get a picture? I'm like, let me put my gloves on. They're like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, but that's not the whole costume. I kind of want to at least it detracts if so you're
yeah,
right. Just ask about the pictures. I'm one of the type of people, I don't care. I'll stand there all day if people want to take pictures. But I have friends that are like, "No, I'm done for taking pictures for the day." I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of rude, but hey,
yeah,
whatever. Everybody's
yeah.
different." So
And this goes around a lot. Um, I probably shouldn't have to say it, but cosplay is not consent.
yeah,
Keep your hands to yourself, and that is all that I will say about it. Tim, if you want to elaborate more, go ahead.
it's not just the girls that get harassed. I've been harassed actually myself from girls. They can be just as creepy as the guys, so take that in consideration too. It doesn't bother me as much because I don't care, but it could bother some people.
Yeah,
So yeah, just I mean, respect people. They
yeah,
don't. They dress up and yes, it's an art form, and they want a lot of them will take pictures with you and stuff, but that doesn't mean for you to go, smack the butt or whatever. If you look at some of my pictures with girls, I do the awkward floating hand because I don't want to put my hand down on their shoulder, and so it's like my hands like floating above. You can always tell when and that's me. I don't like to do the touching thing because
Yeah,
it's just it's kind of rude or whatever.
yeah,
Sometimes the girls will come, they'll grab onto you and hold, to take pictures, and that's fine too. I mean, but
yeah,
you just don't grab on people.
yeah. Don't touch where you're not supposed to touch. Um,
Yeah.
and Renee, that's fine. You're allowed to. um, but yeah, are you can meet some of the best people there. You can also sometimes meet some of the worst. Luckily for me, I've
Yes.
met a lot of great people at cons. Granted, I didn't meet Tim at a convention. I wish I did. That way, it would be a better story. But I just met him on a Star Wars group. I'm like, hey, I like your Darth Vader. Can I be your friend?
Well, it's weird because how things happen. I was at Dragon Con last year.
Yeah,
I was staying at a hotel that was 20 minutes from where Dragon Con was happening. So every time we went, we had to walk from the hotel down to Dragon Con.
yeah,
Well, we were done for the day. We were going to go eat. So we were coming out of the hotel, and I'm walking out, and I'm like, oh my God. I just went crazy because one of my favorite cosplayers was just standing outside of the hotel that I was staying in. His name is Jeffrey
yeah.
Riot, by the way, on Instagram. He does a very
Okay,
cool Joker. Jeffrey
okay, I've
Riot.
seen him.
Yeah, he used to be Wildcard cosplay, but now he's Jeffrey Riot. And I was like, oh my goodness. So we took pictures and stuff like that. I was like, man, what are the odds that you run into like just one of your favorite cosplayers? It's like cool.
Yeah, I haven't really met any cosplayers at cons because mainly I go for like just the con itself. I don't
Yeah.
yeah, I like seeing the cosplay, but the now when you have a booth, do you have people pay you to take a picture with you or no?
Oh, I've never had a booth. I'm
Okay.
not one of those type people. If I've been thinking about trying to get a booth, but if I do, all of my stuff it's just for people to come take pictures. I'm not gonna charge
Okay.
anybody for pictures. And matter of fact, I've been debating on because I've had some people ask about prints. So some of my
Yeah.
cosplayer friends, they wanted prints, and I was like, well, I was thinking about making prints just to give out to friends as gifts, or at the convention just to hand out to people. Hey, here's gifts. Now, when I'm at a booth with my cosplay groups that I'm in, the Finest, it's a GI Joe
Yeah.
costume club. All the money that we have like prints and stuff like that that people can donate like $10 for if they want and take the
Yeah.
print, and all that money goes to charity.
That's
100%
awesome.
goes to charity. And then everybody wants to take pictures with the GI Joe. We have like we'll have props up there for them to take pictures with. That's what I'm about. Just having fun with it. Like the kids love, and when you like, hey, they want to take a picture and you let them hold the prop weapon, it
Yeah.
makes them so happy that it's just it's cool to let people. It's a way to make people happy,
Yeah. It is.
and that's one thing I like about. Now I'm like you. When I first started going to cons, I'm old, so when I started going, it was all about just going to the con and spending money. And that's how I
I don't spend
started.
as much money now, but I know. Yeah.
But now that I'm getting older, I got into the costume, and that's pretty much like people were like, "So, what panel did you see at Star Wars Celebrations?" Oh man, did you see the Mark Hamill panel? And I'm like, "No." They're like, "What?" I was like, "I didn't see any panels at Star Wars because I wasn't there for the panels. I was there for costuming. That's what I do now."
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's gonna be times later because I'm starting to get with my health issues. I'm starting to like wear this armor and just like for the day, my back is just done.
Yeah.
My leg, everything's done. I'm getting to the point now where it's about almost time for me to start, hanging it up and just or doing the light stuff,
Yeah.
Um,
Do the
so
simple stuff like I do, like wear my rebel leather jacket or something like that, and just be like, "Hey, I'm just a rebel Jedi."
you've seen some of mine. I love my Dapper costumes. Like I
Yeah.
saw Anthony Binskin had put up there in one of the comments, he puts classy Star Wars because he and two other of my friends we did Classy Star Wars. I think it was 2014 at New York Comic Con. We all
Yeah.
dressed up as Classy Star Wars. I was Vader. A buddy was a clone trooper. His wife or girlfriend at the time was Boba Fett in a classy dress, and he
That's
was
cool.
Anthony was Chewbacca with a suit. Like, so we were just classy Star Wars, and that's like the easiest thing to do. Just put a tuxedo on, put a suit
Yeah.
on, and just go. You know, I've been I've been throwing it up. I'll do the classy Ronin. I've done that before. I've done, and you saw the dapper Hella
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just like those are the simple ones to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brian, have a good night. Um,
Yep, man. Have a good one, Brian.
but yeah, the cosplay does make me happy as well. When I did my full like Dark Jedi cosplay for Rhode Island Comic Con a couple of years ago, there was a there were two kids. They were actually twins. One was Luke, one was Leia, and I had my Saberforge lightsaber, and when you it looks like a legit lightsaber, and just the look on their faces when they saw me in like the Jedi robes and everything like that, it just made me happy, and stuff like that is what makes cons really fun as well. Um,
Yes.
but the only panel that I'm going to for Fan Expo, which is Boston Comic Con, and it's the only one that has my interest. It's the Back to the Future reunion panel.
Not
Um,
yes. Anytime you get a reunion, that's so cool.
Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, and Tom Wilson are all going to be there.
Nice.
And last year it was Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, and that was the most fun I've had in a long time. If because you live in New Jersey,
Yes.
if they ever come around to New Jersey, definitely try and make one of the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old.
Okay.
It's all right. Here's a little preview of it. Well, not exactly a preview, but just from experience, I will never think of a Boston cream pie the same way again.
Okay. All
And
right.
if you know Kevin Smith,
I can only imagine, and that's scary because I do like Boston cream pie. But we shall see.
yeah. But yeah, definitely if you ever get the chance to see that or Hollywood Babylon, those are the two main shows that Kevin Smith does. Both of them are great. Um, but yeah, definitely try and see one of those if it ever comes around New Jersey.
Okay.
Um, I think that's really about it for convention tips. Unless there's something else you kind of want to throw out there for cons.
No, that's about it. I don't want to go too crazy with it. Just keep it simple so people remember. Just go
Yeah,
there and have fun. And just remember that sometimes costumers get a little grumpy because they've been in the costume all day, depending on what type it
yeah,
is, how complicated it is. So don't take it personal,
personally.
and don't think all costumers are egotistical or
Yeah,
or being rude, because we're not all like that.
yeah.
Sometimes it
There's
just, you
definitely
know,
some like that, but we won't get
they
into that.
are. Oh, trust me, I know them. So just, but go there, have fun, and like I said, just kind of keep those tips. Watch your kid, watch your money. uh, wear comfortable clothing.
Yeah,
Take some bottles of water, maybe a couple snacks, which you just to keep you going a little bit.
yeah,
And don't be afraid to talk to people. You
yeah.
can network. I got offered a job in 2015 at Tampa Bay Comic Con because a guy was like, when he found out I was getting ready to get out the military soon, he was like, "Oh, well, you could make $90,000 a year working for me fixing hydraulic equipment." I was like, "Sweet!" I got his card and everything like that. But it's just things like you never know who you could run into at a comic book convention.
Yeah,
So, yeah, just keep those kinds of things in mind.
Yeah. Um, Although my brother has me beat with meeting people, a certain someone at uh, comic conventions. He got to meet Stan Lee. Um,
See, yeah,
Him and
I
my
haven't.
cousin got to meet Stan Lee. Um, and my brother says this. I don't know if I believe it or not. Supposedly Stan Lee grabs his butt.
Well,
But
I was supposed to see him last year, and he got sick. It was at the Big Apple
yeah,
Con, or and then they canceled out. It was either
yeah.
2016 or 2017. One I can't remember anymore. But it looks like it's probably, I hate to say it, but we're probably not gonna see him at conventions too anymore.
No, unfortunately, his health is not getting better. Um,
Yeah.
if you see his stuff on Instagram with his, I forget what videos it is he does, but like a check-in kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't look as good as he used to.
Right.
Sadly, I I know we just got off the heels of John Schnapp's passing, but I don't see Stan Lee being with us too much longer. I don't want to sound
Yeah. That's.
insensitive, but he's kind of been
I
downhill
just
ever
don't even
since
like to
his
think
wife
about it.
passed.
Yeah. And that right there in itself isn't. It usually can bring people down.
Yeah.
Uh, but let's keep them in our prayers.
Yep. But if you go and see Ant-Man and the Wasp, he does have a pretty funny cameo in that.
Yes, he does. It was good. I liked it. It was
Well,
like it kind of
the 60s
it,
were
it
fun, but it's definitely affecting me now.
yes.
uh,
Although I mean, let's be honest. Even the one in Infinity War was absolutely hilarious.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, he does. They're good ones. I tell you.
They are. They really are. Um, for anyone who wants to see Stan Lee just having fun, go watch him be interviewed from Kevin Smith. He is so spry. Um, they do a mock up of him auditioning for the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Um, and Kevin Smith is like having him act, and Stan Lee is like, "Who am I?" And Kevin Smith is like, "Well, you're Stan Lee." He's like, "Oh yeah, it is pretty difficult to be me." um, but my highlight, still to this day, of meeting anyone at any convention was meeting Kevin Conroy at Rhode Island Comic Con.
That's nice. That is awesome.
And I'm pretty sure I know who yours is, but go ahead and tell.
Well, so I got to meet just recently. I met James Reamer from, of course, he was Raiden at one point. He was
Yeah.
some other people, but I will always know him as Agent Markham from the Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. And I talked to him, and I was like, "Man, they need to get you back in the next one." And he said, "I'm trying." I said, "I've been trying to get in these movies since then, and so I'm hoping to see him in the next one." But now I did um, 2018 last year, or I think it was last year. I can't keep up with time anymore. This is what that old age, man. I'm telling you, it gets you. I did get Spencer Wilding to sign my lightsaber blade. And if you don't know who he is, he was one of the Darth Vader portrayals in Rogue One.
Yep.
He was also the blue guy in Guardians of the Galaxy, the real the I know we
Is he
keep
the
this
one that has Quill's Walkman?
headset. Yes,
Okay.
I was gonna
Okay.
say I want to use a word, but I'm trying. I know you keep this family friendly, so he was the guy that stole Peter Quill's Walkman, and
Yeah.
then started shocking him. So that was he was. So if you remember that guy, he was also Darth Vader
Yep.
in Rogue One. and he's done some other movies too. But I had him sign my blade, and I don't use that blade anymore. It stays in my
Yeah.
in my room. Yep.
Yeah. And
So
that was the one that I was gonna say was your highlight of meeting someone at a convention. Like
yes,
one of the
that's
best
my
ones.
highlight. Because before then, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've met Norman Reedus and I met Sebastian Stan. Those are just photo ops. You don't really get a chance to really talk to them and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I don't really celebrity meetings aren't really my thing. But now I'm starting to realize that I should get a few of them here or there because like just recently I got the lady and the man that voiced Lady J and Storm Shadow in the old GI Joe cartoons. I got
Yeah.
pictures with them and got autographs with them, and I've been trying to do that lately. Just people that it's cool to meet the people, and they're
Yeah.
really nice. I met Sherilyn Fenn. If you don't know who she is, she played in a movie that is dear to my heart. I was growing up. It's one of my favorite movies called Thrashing. It was in 1980. It was 1986.
I've
It has
heard of
Josh
it.
Brolin. Yes, it has Josh Brolin in it,
Okay.
and he's like, yeah, right. It happened. It took place right after he was in Goonies when he was the older brother in
Okay.
Goonies. It was the
Okay.
same. So it's and she was in it, and I got to meet her and talk, and you start realizing some of these actors and actresses are just so down to earth,
Yeah.
and um, you know, so I'm starting to have my share of meeting with people. I'm starting to get out of my shell and say, you know what, let me just go meet, because I used to not care about meeting. Like it was like people were like, oh, I got to go meet Stan Lee. I was like, well, that's good. Go meet him. I don't care. But now I kind of like, man, maybe I should have met him.
Yeah.
Being that Spider-Man, especially Spider-Man, is my favorite superhero. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. I know one thing that you'll probably find cool. My first year at Rhode Island Comic Con, I was sitting in the hotel lobby waiting for my brother to come down. And I didn't realize I was sitting next to him, but I was sitting next to David Prowse.
Nice.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it at the time. Um,
Don't you
he,
hate that?
yeah. He was taking a nap, so I wasn't going to bother him because
Oh,
he
okay.
might he might have force choked me. But there's that, and Henry Winkler did the Fonzie point in A when I was walking through the con. Um, Lou Ferrigno, I was apparently in the way, and instead of saying, "Can you move to the side?" he just picked me up and moved me over to the side. Um, so that was pretty terrifying. Um, but I've met pretty much the entire cast of The Walking Dead, minus maybe a few people.
Okay.
Um, but definitely the one person that would just skyrocket everything for meeting someone at a convention would be Mark Hamill.
Yeah, oh yeah,
If
yeah.
they announced Mark Hamill was going to be at New York Comic Con, I would get a ticket just to meet Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And
I've got my ticket. If they do, I might, because he's one that I think I want to get a picture with,
yeah,
especially if I wear
and
my Vader.
and he seems just like such a nice guy. He seems
Oh
real.
yeah,
He's as
yeah.
down to earth as anyone, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yes.
but yeah, just when you're going to your first con, definitely just go to have a good time. Don't go to try and impress anyone.
Yeah.
Um, and you'll probably meet some of the greatest people that you'll ever meet.
Yep.
Um, we are getting to that point that we like to call one. Vader decided to join us. Um, so, Tim, we know that you have to explain your Instagram name. So, where can they find you on Instagram?
Okay, so it is Neck Terrace Artistry, and it's spelled NYCTERIS _ artistry. It is not NYC terrorist, as somebody had asked me one time. I've been actually debating on whether I was going to change the name because nobody says Nectaris is a species of bat. Bats are my favorite animals. That's all I'm going to get into. So I named it after my favorite animal, like a species of it. It's not NYC terrorist. But anyway, yes. So that's where you'll find me at. I've been kind of on and off social media. I haven't been as much, but I spend more time, I think, on Instagram than anything. So if you can find me there.
Yeah. That if you want to see a lot of his cosplay stuff, definitely follow his Instagram. Even just add him here on Facebook. I've said it. I might have said it to you before, but you're one of the greatest cosplayers that I've seen, and you're the more down-to-earth cosplayer that I've ever met. A lot of them, they're too far up their own asses to really want to become friends with. And I'm happy that I've become friends with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I just try. That's all. I try.
Like Yoda once said, do or do not. There is no try. So you do it.
Yeah.
But you guys can find me on Instagram at Andrew62592. I post a lot of different stuff. Like the other day, I posted 3 videos of me practicing my lightsaber fighting, which I'm very rusty at. But
You and me both.
But the funny thing is the Kylo Ren one was the more difficult out of all of them to kind of handle. Not so much with the extra blades, but it's just really heavy. If you think the
Okay.
Vader lightsaber is heavy, the Kylo Ren one is a lot heavier than that.
I can only imagine. That's why I don't
Um,
even really do much tricks with. I can't really, like, people want to battle at conventions. Like,
yeah.
what's wrong? I
Well, with
can't.
my
It's just it's.
Anakin one, it's very, very light. Like, you know how George Lucas said, like, the lightsabers are pretty much, like, weightless? This is pretty
Yes,
much that one.
that's
Um,
nice.
that and the Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi one. Um, wow, that's turned into a lightsaber talk. You can also find me on Twitter at agarsh1. My Twitter is very dead most of the time. um, um, besides this past week with the passing of John Schnepp, I was very active about that. Um, if you do want to see the tribute live stream I did for John Schnepp, you can also find it on my Facebook page, or you can go to my YouTube at Commander Nerd and find it there. I also posted the Worst of the Wills that I had with my cousins and my brother. The funny thing about one of the cousins that I had in it, he was one of the ones that saw the original Star Wars back in '77 as well, and
Oh
he's
wow,
also the one that introduced me to Star Wars. Um,
nice.
so that was a pretty cool thing to do. But you can also at T Public pick up this Where's the Will shirt, the very first Where's the Will shirt. Um, they do sales every so often. They usually come down to $14, but the regular sale price is $20. Honestly, it's not that bad of a price, and these are very well made T-shirts. But other than that, as we say here at the Podcast Network, may the force be
May
with
the
you
force be with you
always.
always.